Poco just dropped a phone that has put other mid-range phones on notice because this costs just £399, but the performance, the brightness, the cameras, this thing could well be the mid-range king. And to be honest with you, it's got a really good case. Let's get right into it and talk about those rear camera lenses because that makes or break most mid-range phones. On the back here, you get three 50 megapixel wide, 50 megapixel 2.5x telephoto, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. And then the performance, this is running newest software. So there has been some camera tweaks, which is good to note. And that main lens gets you really good daylight photos, which are pretty good and reasonably detailed. They do lack somewhat of a punch in terms of sharpness, but colors are accurate. And most importantly for me, real to life and not overly processed. There's no over the top sort of AI processing, contrasty, saturated color thing going on here. It is a reasonably good photo. I would say a good photo with a very real to life look to it, which is good. The telephoto lens is a 50 megapixel, 60 millimeters. Again, output very similar to the main lens. There is no noise and colors look natural and well balanced with really good dynamic range. As you zoom up the focal length, much of that quality is retained, but as you hit the top end, images can look less detailed and sharpness and overly processed. At 10x, I would say is the peak max you should use this telephoto lens at, because that's where the quality is pretty good. Now, the biggest downside is the 8 megapixel ultra wide. As you can guess, it is low image size, low pixel count, so that is reflected in the images. There's a lot of AI processing happening in the back here to try and like forego the fact that there's 8 megapixels. It doesn't do a particularly good job and you don't get a lot of detail or sharpness in the images. Then selfie, front-facing camera is usable enough. Images look okay, I guess. And again, a little bit soft. Weirdly, video is 1080p max 60 FPS, which is really odd. It does look decent to be fair, but surprise is not 4K considering that this is sort of a higher end mid-range device. You do get, similar to your main lens, really good video output, good quality, can be 8K 30 FPS, and has a lot of sharpness and detail in its image as well. The design element mirrors that of the F8 Ultra because you get squares, rails all over, round at the top. On the back, you've got that rectangular housing, which houses the sound output from a Bose engineered or tuned audio, which we will get to later in this video. Up front though, you get a really nice 6.59 inch AMOLED display with 1.5K resolution, 3500 nits of peak brightness, and this size feels super comfortable, and watching content in here is really good. Excellent indoor and outdoor brightness as well with punchy colors, great HDR, and then you're enhanced with Dolby Vision support as well, which is amazing. And then the Poco F8 Pro in terms of weight only weighs less than 200 grams, so it's not a bulky phone. It looks super premium, but it's not a bulky phone. It's quite lightweight in hand as well. And what I would say is, picking it up and you're chucking it in your hand, this size is super appealing compared to the much larger F8 Ultra. Under the housing of the F8 Pro, you actually get a 8 Elite chipset, which is 6. That's last year's flagship from say the S25 Ultra. I say last year's, this year's flagship from S25 Ultra, for example. And you get a battery capacity of 6,210 milliamp hours with 100 watts of wire charging. Now, where that differs to the F8 Ultra though, is this has wireless charging. This does not have wireless charging. So that is one of the downsides of this phone and the cost cut versus the F8 Ultra. The benefit of that Elite though is of course in gaming performance, where if you were to use this in Call of Duty, running this with Wild Boost on, which we mentioned in that F8 Ultra, will allow you to achieve higher frame rates and better overall graphic fidelity. And not only does it look really good, but it sounds super crisp and punchy as well.
Enemy down. Ready for deployment. Enemy contact. Target down. Hunter killer drone ready for deployment. Friendly predator missile inbound. Friendly strafe run is incoming. Hunter killer drone deployed. We've taken the lead. Target down. Enemy down.
And then HyperOS 3.0, that is the newest OS running inside the Poco F8 Pro, and it runs very, very well. There is no huge step change here in terms of its look and feel. It's very much business as usual, but it does borrow some elements, as you'd expect, things like their version of Dynamic Island, which I think they called Hyper Island, I believe, something to that effect. 4 years of OS updates, 6 security updates, again, very, very good, and it runs really, really well. No issues here with any crashes, drop frame rates, a lot of focus on animation, and it looks really, really nice. Animations are very, very satisfying. Personally, don't really care about animations, doesn't really matter. I prefer the more smoother, less animation experience, but it runs excellent. And then you get all of the AI features that you'd expect on here as well, which is excellent. And they all live on the F8 Pro really, really well. The F8 Pro is a really, really good mid-range phone, but there are some highs and some lows, and I think they kind of almost cancel each other out to leave this with a question mark, with the biggest one being that £400 we mentioned at the start of this video is actually an early bird promotional offer, and its MSRP, or RRP as we say here in the UK, is closer to £550, which puts it on the high side. And for that, you don't get things like wireless charging, you get pretty poor ultra-wide performance, and those two I think are pretty big downsides to this F8 Pro. But on the upside, you get relatively good camera experience from the main lens and the telephoto. Battery life is excellent, display is top tier. So it's up to you to decide what you think. Are those compromises enough? And is the F8 Pro a king of the mid-range, yes or no? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Until next one, as always, we out.